Okay, guys. So what happened today? I logged, not logged. I went live on Instagram. Yeah, I went live on Instagram, and on Instagram, like, it was just like a random thing. But I ended up chatting with Yolande DIY. She has a channel also on YouTube. I will link her channel description. Anyways, so we talked about some things like regarding the trends that happen with interior, with DIYs and stuff. So anyways, we tend to follow things that other people do, which is sometimes fine, but sometimes not fine, especially if you're doing interior. I cannot be doing interior for spring instead of doing DIYs or interior for winter, as most people would say, because we know that, okay, in America or overseas they're getting into spring, and in Africa we're getting into winter. So I prefer to create something that is more cozy, instead of like summery or springish, if you so I made a list for things that you can do to make your space bigger, because we know always need spaces, especially as I'm renting out. It's a very small space, so I have tricks and ideas to actually make your space look nice and look bigger, even if the space is because wow, it struggles serial. So the first one that I have, so you have to match your curtains. Match your curtains to your wall. When I say match your curtains to your wall, I'm not saying white on white. For example, let's say you have like a yellow wall, then you might go for a curtain that is white that has stripes that are yellow. In that way, it creates an illusion of a space that is bigger, because if it's a whole different color, then the whole section of the window is going to be different, and then it's going to shrink your space. Well, they're going to make it like very small if the space is getting, if it's like a small space and then your curtains they match with your walls, then it's going to create an illusion that your space is bigger. Choose furniture that has legs. Yeah, there's nothing wrong having furniture in a manina. It's not like furniture makulu, your grandmother, or you know, like back in the days. There are pieces of furniture that look very nice having legs. For example, if you're going for a corner couch, choose a corner couch that has legs. That's gonna be nice. If you go for a coffee table, choose a coffee table that has legs. If you go for an entertainment unit, choose one that has legs, even if it's not tall legs, even if it's short legs. If we are wise to create like floating furniture, go for that, because it's going to create that illusion in furniture, and then your floor, it's going to look nice and clean and open. In that way, then it's going to have that illusion. And the other thing, which is a trend, most people when they make spaces or living areas, they tend to have rugs. Now, there's a trick with a rug, and most people, they do not expect this. I've tried it because I stay in a small space. If you put a rug in a small space, it makes the space even smaller. Some people, they have rugs in big spaces because they want to divide the sections. So in that sense, if you have a small space and you put a rug, it's going to make your space smaller. And the point in this is that have furniture that has legs, so that your floor looks clean, there's nothing that's hiding it. And when you put your couch, try to avoid to put your couch right against the wall, or have furniture that is directly against the wall, because what that does is it makes your walls shorter, and then it brings everything down. So that's a trick. That is number 2. So for number 3, give your walls a breathing room. I don't know if it makes sense, but it makes sense to me. I'm gonna try and explain this. So for example, if you have like a lot of pieces that you put onto your wall, they're gonna make your space small, because there's no room to breathe. There's not, everywhere you look there's something, everywhere you look there's something. So if you have like maybe 2 pieces of art artwork that are large for that particular wall, it's gonna look nice. But then if you're gonna create a collage wall, for example, for a small space, then it's gonna give you like a huge problem. Or maybe have like 2 huge mirrors. Then in that way your space would look bigger, because we know that mirrors, they reflect. And we have number 4. So this one, curate your bookshelves. So what I mean by curating your bookshelves or your display shelf, it's having items that communicate with each other. If you're gonna have a tall vase, maybe have a short vase, make it communicate with each other. It doesn't matter whether your bookshelf has plenty of books. If you have like multiple books that you need to display, make sure that the colors coordinate, they communicate together. Because if it doesn't, then it's gonna look like clutter. It's not gonna look neat. It's not gonna look like you're organized, you know. Even if you just place items in just naxinyana, but you know at the back of your mind, you know what, I'm playing the game. And then you need to have a focal point. Yenye mistakes abazenza abantu. Basically, when they speak of focal wall, it's not necessarily having like this huge wall at your back, and then all of that wall needs to be decorated. No, a focal wall, and just say fireplaces, but fireplaces is part of a focal wall, but most of us, we don't have really those fireplaces, so I just say so I would make an example of having art pieces to create a focal wall. That's a statement. Or you can have a bold paint that works against the paint yakho yonke. That is a focal wall also, but it doesn't necessarily mean in a small space faka like a very dark paint on the whole side of your wall, because then it's going to make your space look dark. But having a focal wall, then it directs the eye. It creates like a conversation statement. Conversation statement. But here's the conversation statements, they're normally on the table. And then the other one that you need to do for your space to look bigger is mount your TV. I understand this whole trend about having like TV stands and whatnot, but mounting the TV on the wall, it creates a space on top of the counter where you actually put your TV on your TV stand. If you have a guy, so you can have your entertainment unit, but mount the TV on the wall, and then on top of your stand, that's when you can decorate with your books or vase or whatever, or small plants, whatever that's gonna make it interesting. And it's also nice when you have that TV mount, the one that you can shift around, because imagine if you don't want to watch a TV and then it's just consuming a space that you don't even have, that's a problem. So rather mount it on the wall, because when you're not using it, you just push it back, so it's not always right in front of your face. And the other trick that I would suggest is, if you have a lot of wall frames or pieces of art that you want to hang on your wall, you can also go back to that thing of creating a focal point by having your frames around the TV. Most people have done that, and new pictures is maybe on Pinterest. So yeah, that's another one. Do not block that door. Bow. Do not block the door if you have a small space. Don't feel like you have to have a lot of things that you don't actually need in a small space, in a sense that you end up blocking the door. What I mean by blocking the door is that you have so many pieces of furniture and they end up zisondele emnyango. So basically, like having a couch that is right next to the door. If there's a way for you to place your couch somewhere else, rather move it and place it somewhere else than to have it next to the door. Or if you're creating like an entryway, don't buy a chunky piece of furniture as will distract umnyango. Buy maybe a console table as well, slim, ingaphazamisa umnyango, inga distract. then you have a nice flow. So and then the other one is experiment with the layout. Now this is very important. Like I always like sitting because I have a small space. So when you experiment with a space, it's that thing of moving a piece of furniture to a certain area and moving anywhere just to see the spaces. For example, I cannot have my bed right in the center of my space because it's gonna finish the whole space. So I rather have it against the wall so that I have more space to walk and more sitting space. Hope that makes sense. But again, and then keep cords contained. So if it's a living area, there's nothing as distracting or destructive as having cords, say cables, as lengayo, whether it be your DSTV, your PlayStation, your TV cord. Just try to find a way to hide it. Like you can buy a strip as a sort of sitting dumbo. You can get it at game like Ngoma 110, 120, cheapest, I think, and Kosho. Or you can find it on Marketplace on Facebook. So just make it a point that you always try to hide the cords. And then the other one, design for impact. So what I mean when I say design for impact is like, you know that you have a small space, so this bit of items that you have for decorating your space, they have to make an impact. They have to serve your purpose, because you don't want to have like a vase that is tall as your son or a vase that is tall as your leg standing somewhere in your room, but you don't have a space, just for the sake of decorating, if it makes sense. So when I say maybe design for impact, I'll say get maybe like a large mirror, like a gold frame kind of mirror, get plants, things that will serve purpose, because if you have like a large mirror, that's also going to serve your purpose. Things that make statement. If you have like your fridge, maybe get a silver fridge. If you don't like it, paint it red. Get a spray painted gold, spray painted blue or lime or green or silver, whatever color better. And then the other one would be make it monochrome. You will see the pictures. So when we say make it monochrome, you cannot have, okay, well, there is a design, like Bohemian designs, they have like a combination of colors, of which some people, they don't mind it, but I would say I prefer like having monochrome. Maybe have white walls with a bit of gray, have gray couch, have black cushions, you know, colors that communicate with each other. In that way they make an interest into your space. It doesn't make amehlo wako akhathale, like you feel like your eyes are so tired. And then the other thing would be, and then for the final one, draw the eye up. So what I mean by drawing the eye up, I'm gonna make an example. When you hang curtains, don't hang them directly below the window frame, because it's gonna make the wall shorter. If you have picture frames, long ago those days whereby when you hang a frame picture, it has to align with where your window ends or where your door ends. No, it doesn't work like that. Well, it still works like that, but I mean, you have to reinvent and create things. So hanging things up or having pieces of furniture or things that create interest to the eye, and then you just hang them up the wall. Not on the eye level, just a bit up the wall. So in that way, it will make your room feel bigger because it draws the eye up. You see? Now I feel like a poet. Yes, like draw the eye up. Make it feel open, make it feel nice, make it feel inviting. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this week's video. Tell your friends to tell their friends that we're living on the cheap side with DIY.